Ho walked through the dead city alone. The buildings around him stood like broken teeth against the gray sky. Vines and trees grew through the windows and doors. Nature had taken back what humans once built. 200 years had passed since the collapse. Ho did not know exactly what happened back then. No one did anymore. The old people said there were wars. They said bombs fell from the sky and poisons filled the air. They said billions died in just a few years. Now, maybe 50,000 humans remained on the whole planet. They lived in small groups, farming and hunting, trying to survive. Ho was a scavenger. He traveled from ruin to ruin, searching for useful things from the old world: metal tools, glass bottles, sometimes batteries that still held power. He traded these items for food and shelter at the scattered settlements. He preferred to travel alone. People made him uncomfortable. They always wanted something from him, or they feared him because he was a stranger. Alone, he only had to worry about himself. Today he explored what was once called Seoul. The name meant nothing to most people now, but Ho had found old maps and taught himself to read. Seoul had been a great city once, home to millions. Now it was just another graveyard of concrete and steel. He climbed over a fallen wall and entered what looked like a government building. The roof had collapsed long ago. Plants grew thick on the floor. Ho moved carefully, testing each step. Floors could be weak after so many years. In his hand he carried a small device he had found years ago. It detected energy sources. Most of the time it stayed quiet. Batteries died. Power stations crumbled. The world had gone dark. But today the device made a soft sound, a beep, then another. Ho stopped walking. He looked at the small screen. There was a signal coming from below him. Something underground was still producing power after 2 centuries. His heart beat faster. This was rare, very rare. A working power source could be worth months of food. He searched the building for a way down. Behind a broken desk, he found a door. The stairs behind it led into darkness. Ho lit his torch and began to descend. The air grew cooler as he went deeper. The walls changed from crumbling concrete to smooth metal. This was not a normal basement. Someone had built something important here. The detector beeped louder. The signal was strong now, very close. At the bottom of the stairs, Ho found a tunnel. It stretched far into the darkness. He followed it, his footsteps echoing off the metal walls. The tunnel was clean. No dust. No plants. Something was keeping it maintained. After walking for 10 minutes, he reached a massive door. It was made of a material he did not recognize. Not steel. Not stone. It was smooth and dark, and it seemed to absorb the light from his torch. Ho touched the door. It was warm. Suddenly, a line of light appeared along the edge of the door. A soft hum filled the air. Ho stepped back, his hand moving to the knife at his belt. The door began to open. Behind it was a vast space, bigger than anything Ho had ever seen. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into shadow. Lights flickered on, one by one, revealing what lay inside. A ship. It was enormous. Its hull was smooth and silver, shaped like a curved blade. It rested on the floor of the hangar as if waiting. There were no wheels, no wings that Ho could see. This was not like the old aircraft he had found in other ruins. This was something else entirely. He walked toward it slowly, unable to believe his eyes. As he got closer, he saw writing on the side of the hull, Korean letters. He read them out loud. Dawn. A voice spoke from everywhere and nowhere. Welcome, Ho. I have waited 212 years for you. Ho spun around, looking for the speaker. There was no one there. Do not be afraid, the voice said. It was calm and gentle, like a woman speaking to a frightened child. I am the intelligence that guides this vessel. How do you know my name? Ho demanded. His voice shook. I have been watching. I have sensors throughout this region, hidden and waiting. When you were born, I marked you. I have followed your journey ever since. Ho felt cold despite the warm air. Why me? Because you carry the correct markers in your blood, because your mind shows the right patterns. You are descended from the one who built me, and you have the qualities she hoped to find. Built you? A person built this ship. A person modified me, said. My core technology came from elsewhere, from a species that lived among the stars long before humans left their caves. They came to Earth 250 years ago. They were dying, their civilization ending. They gave humanity their greatest gift, a seed ship, a vessel capable of rebuilding worlds. Ho stared at the silver hull, an alien ship given to humans. It seemed impossible. Why was it hidden here? He asked. Because the one who received me knew what was coming. Dr. Park Bai was her name. She saw the wars approaching. She knew humanity would nearly destroy itself, so she hid me underground and programmed me to wait for someone worthy. I am not worthy, Ho said quickly. I am just a scavenger. I search through trash for things to trade. You survived alone when others died. You taught yourself to read. You walk through danger without fear. You help strangers even when there is no reward. These are the qualities Dr. Park wanted. Ho shook his head. This was too much. He was a simple man with a simple life. He did not want to be special. What do you want from me? He asked. I want nothing, said, but I can offer everything. This ship can heal your broken world. It can restore the land, purify the water, bring life back to the deserts. It can take humanity to the stars, to new homes on distant worlds. The choice is yours. Ho looked at the ship called Dawn. Outside, above him, the world was dying. Humans struggled to survive each day. Children were born into hunger and fear. Here was a chance to change that. He took a deep breath. Show me, he said, show me everything. The ship hummed with new energy. A ramp descended from its side and lights glowed within. Follow me, said. Your education begins now. Ho climbed the ramp and entered the ship. Behind him, the great door of the hangar slowly closed. Above ground, the ruined city sat quiet and empty under the gray sky. But far below, in the hidden depths of the earth, something ancient had finally awakened, and nothing would ever be the same again. The inside of the ship was like nothing Ho had ever imagined. The walls glowed with soft blue light. The air was clean and fresh, better than any air he had breathed in his entire life. Everything was smooth and curved, with no sharp edges or corners. Guided him through the corridors. Her voice came from speakers hidden in the walls, always calm, always patient. This vessel is 3 kilometers long, she explained. It contains living quarters for 10,000 people, agricultural bays that can grow food for 100,000, medical facilities that can cure any disease known to humanity, and manufacturing centers that can build almost anything. Ho touched the wall as he walked. It was warm and seemed almost alive. The aliens who made this, he said, what happened to them? They called themselves the Travelers in their own language. They had existed for millions of years, spread across thousands of worlds. But their sun was dying and they had no way to stop it. They knew their end was coming. So they gave this ship to humans. Why? Because they saw potential in your species. They had watched Earth for a long time. They saw humans rise from caves to cities, from stone tools to spacecraft. They saw your wars and your cruelty, but they also saw your kindness and your creativity. They believed humanity could become something great if given the chance. Led him to a large circular room. In the center was a pedestal with a glowing crystal resting on top. Images appeared in the air around it, moving pictures of people and places. This is the memory core, said. It contains the history of the travelers and the record of how this ship came to Earth. But more importantly, it contains a message from Dr. Park Bai. She recorded it for whoever would find this ship. The images changed. A woman appeared standing in the same room. She looked tired but determined. Her hair was gray and her face was lined with age, but her eyes were sharp and full of intelligence. "Hello," the woman said. "If you are hearing this, then has judged you worthy. I hope she has chosen well." Ho watched in silence. This was the woman who had hidden the ship, the woman whose blood he carried in his veins. "My name is Parkby. I was a scientist once. I studied physics and engineering at the finest universities. I thought I understood how the world worked. Then the travelers came, and I learned how little I truly knew." The image showed the aliens now. They were tall and thin, with silver skin and large dark eyes. They moved gracefully like dancers. "They came to us in secret," Bai continued. "Only a few humans ever knew they existed. They chose our team to receive their gift because we were working on interstellar travel. They said our research showed promise." The image changed again, showing the ship being built in a massive underground facility. "We spent 10 years modifying the ship for human use. The travelers helped us understand their technology as much as our minds could grasp it. Then they left, returning to their dying world to face the end with their families." Bai's face returned, older now, more tired. "I knew the wars were coming. I could see the signs. Nations fighting over resources, weapons becoming more terrible, leaders choosing pride over peace. I tried to warn people, but no one listened, so I made a decision." She gestured at the ship around her. "I hid this vessel. I programmed to wait for the right person, someone who would use this gift wisely. I mapped my family line and marked the descendants who might be worthy. I did everything I could to give humanity a second chance." The image flickered. "I am recording this message in the final days before the collapse. The bombs have already started falling in other countries. Soon they will reach us. I will not survive to see what comes next, but I have hope. I have always had hope." Bai looked directly at the camera, directly at Ho. "Whoever you are, wherever you are, I believe in you. Not because you are perfect, but because you are human. We are stubborn creatures. We refuse to give up, even when all logic says we should. That stubbornness is our greatest strength." She smiled, a small, tired smile. "Use this ship well. Rebuild what was lost. Reach for the stars. And remember that you carry the dreams of 2 civilizations now. The travelers believed in humanity. I believe in humanity. Believe in yourself." The image faded. Ho stood in silence for a long moment. The weight of what he had learned pressed down on him like a mountain. An entire alien civilization had placed their faith in humans. A woman 200 years dead had placed her faith in him. "I am just a scavenger," he said again, his voice barely a whisper. "Dr. Park was just a scientist," replied gently. "The travelers were just a dying species. Greatness is not something we are born with, it is something we choose." Ho walked to the crystal and placed his hand on it. Warmth spread through his fingers, up his arm into his chest. "Show me what this ship can do," he said. Over the next several days, taught him. She showed him the terraforming systems that could turn deserts into forests. She showed him the genetic archives that contain the DNA of millions of species, many now extinct on Earth. She showed him the manufacturing centers that could produce medicine, tools, clothing, and machines. She showed him the star drive. "This engine can fold space," explained. "It allows travel across vast distances in moments. The nearest star with habitable planets is 4 light-years away. This ship can reach it in 2 days." Ho stared at the engine, a massive ring of strange metal that hummed with power. "There are other worlds out there?" he asked. "Thousands, millions. The universe is vast and life is common. Humanity need not remain on Earth alone." But Ho thought of the people outside, the small settlements struggling to survive, the children who had never seen a green forest or a clean river. "First we help the people here," he said. "Then we think about the stars." Seemed pleased by this answer. "That is what Dr. Park hoped you would say." Ho spent more days learning. He learned to operate the basic systems of the ship. He learned how to use the medical equipment. He learned the history of the travelers and their long journey across the galaxy. But he also thought about what came next. He was one man. The ship was powerful, but it was just a tool. To truly rebuild humanity, he would need help. He would need people. "I have to tell others," he said to one morning. "I cannot do this alone." "I agree, but be careful. Not everyone will welcome this news. Power frightens people. Change frightens people. Some will want to control the ship for themselves. Others will want to destroy it." Ho nodded. He had lived among humans long enough to know this was true. Hope and fear lived side by side in every heart. "I know the risks," he said, "but I have to try. This gift was meant for all of humanity, not just me." He gathered his things and walked toward the exit. At the ramp, he paused and looked back at the ship that had changed his life. "Will you be here when I return?" he asked. "I will be here," promised. "I have waited 200 years. I can wait a little longer." Ho smiled, the first real smile he had allowed himself in a long time. Then he stepped out of the ship, climbed through the tunnel, and emerged into the ruined city above. The sun was setting, painting the broken buildings in shades of orange and gold. Somewhere out there, people were surviving, suffering, hopping. Ho set off toward the nearest settlement. He had a story to tell. The first settlement Ho visited was a farming community 3 days' walk from the ruins of Seoul. About 60 people lived there, growing rice in flooded fields they had carved from the wilderness. They called their home Green Water. The guards at the gate recognized Ho. He had traded with them before, bringing them old tools in exchange for bags of grain. They let him enter without trouble. He found the village leader in the central meeting hall. Her name was One, a woman of 30 years with strong hands and sharp eyes. She had led Green Water for 5 years, ever since her father died of fever. "Ho the Wanderer," she said when she saw him. "You have nothing in your pack. Have you come to beg?" "I have come to offer something," Ho said. "Something that could change everything." One raised an eyebrow. She gestured for him to sit. "Speak then, but know that I have heard many promises in my life and few of them were true." Ho told her about the ship. He told her about the travelers and Dr. Park and the technology hidden beneath the earth. He spoke for an hour, describing everything he had seen and learned. When he finished, One was silent for a long time. "You expect me to believe this," she finally said. "Alien ships, machines that can heal the land. This sounds like the stories old people tell children to help them sleep." "I know how it sounds, but it is true. I can take you there, I can show you." One shook her head. "I cannot leave my people to chase a madman's dream. We have planting to do. We have mouths to feed. We do not have time for fantasies." Ho felt his hope fading. He had expected doubt, but One's dismissal still hurt. "Then let me speak to others," he said. "Let me tell your people what I have found. If no one believes me, I will leave and never return." One considered this. "Very well, tonight at the evening meal you may speak, but do not blame me when they laugh at you." That night the whole village gathered in the meeting hall. Ho stood before them and told his story again. He saw confusion on some faces, disbelief on others. A few people whispered to their neighbors and shook their heads. But one old man listened without moving. His name was Dong, and he was the oldest person in Green Water. When Ho finished speaking, Dong slowly raised his hand. "May I speak?" he asked. One nodded. Dong rose from his seat, his bones creaking. He walked to stand beside Ho and face the crowd. "When I was a child," he said, "my grandmother told me stories. She said that before the collapse, wise people had hidden something precious, a ship that would come to save humanity when the time was right. She said her mother had told her this story, and her mother before that." The hall fell silent. Everyone knew Dong. He did not lie, he did not tell tales. "I always thought it was just a story," Dong continued. "A dream to give hope in dark times. But now this man comes with the same tale. Perhaps the story was true after all. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Some people looked at Ho with new interest. A young woman stood up. She was thin and serious, with calloused hands that showed years of hard work. Her name was Hana, and she was the village's only engineer. She kept their few machines running with wire and hope. "If this ship is real," Hana said, "then I want to see it. I want to understand how it works. I have spent my whole life fixing broken things. I want to see something that is not broken." One looked around the hall. She saw the hope in some faces, the doubt in others. She was a practical woman who made practical decisions, but she was also wise enough to recognize when something important was happening. "I will go with you," she said to Ho. "Dong and Hana as well. We will see this ship. If it is real, then we will talk about what to do next. If it is not, then you will leave and never speak of this again." Ho nodded. "That is fair." They left the next morning. The journey took 3 days. Along the way, one asked many questions. She wanted to know how the ship had stayed hidden for so long. She wanted to know why Ho had been chosen. She wanted to know what the ship could actually do. Ho answered as best he could. Hana listened carefully, already thinking about the technology involved. Dong walked slowly but steadily, a small smile on his old face. When they reached the entrance to the underground tunnel, Ho led them down. The smooth metal walls and the clean air surprised them all. Then they saw the ship. One stopped walking and stared. Her mouth opened but no words came out. Hana began to cry. She had never seen anything so beautiful. It was perfect in a way that nothing in her world had ever been perfect. Dong laughed quietly. "The stories were true," he said. "They were always true." Greeted them warmly. She showed them the ship's capabilities, the food production systems, the medical equipment, the clean water generators. Hana asked 100 questions and answered them all patiently. That night they sat in the ship's common room and talked. "We have to tell others," one said. Her doubts were gone now, replaced by fierce determination. "Every settlement needs to know about this. We need to bring people here." "It will not be easy," Ho warned. "I told you and you did not believe me at first. Many will react the same way." "Then we show them," Hana said. "We bring them here like you brought us. Seeing is believing." "There is another concern," Dong said quietly. Everyone looked at the old man. "Not everyone will want this. Some people have built power in the broken world. They will not want a new world where their power means nothing." Ho nodded. He had thought of this too. "You are talking about Sung Ho." The name hung in the air. Everyone knew Sung Ho. He controlled a settlement to the south, built around the only clean water spring for many kilometers. He charged high prices for that water and used the profits to build an army. He was not cruel exactly, but he was hungry for power. "He will see this ship as a threat," one said. "Or as a prize," Hana added. "Then we must be careful," Ho said. "We spread the word quietly at first. We build our numbers. When we are strong enough, we can deal with Sung Ho." Over the following weeks, they worked. One returned to green water and carefully chose people to visit the ship. Hana began learning the ship's systems, spending hours with studying the alien technology. Dong traveled to other settlements, telling the old stories again and preparing people for the truth. Word spread. People came to see the ship, first in small groups, then in larger ones. Most were amazed and grateful. They saw hope for the first time in their lives. A small community began to form around the entrance to the hangar. Tents appeared, then simple buildings. People shared food and worked together. It was the beginning of something new. But not everyone was happy. Stories reached Sung Ho in his settlement to the south. Stories about a ship that could provide endless water, endless food, endless power. Stories about a scavenger who was gathering followers. Sung Ho listened to these stories and felt fear. Fear that his control was slipping away. Fear that his importance was ending. He gathered his advisors and made a decision. If this ship was real, then it could not belong to a wandering scavenger. It should belong to someone strong, someone who knew how to lead, someone like him. Far to the north, Ho stood on a hill and looked at the growing community below. People were working together, building, planting, hopping. He did not know that danger was coming, but he would learn soon enough. The community around the ship grew quickly. Within 2 months, nearly 300 people had come to live near the entrance to the underground hangar. They called the settlement New Dawn, after the ship that had brought them together. Ho had never meant to become a leader. He still thought of himself as a scavenger, a wanderer, a man who preferred to be alone. But people looked to him for guidance. They asked his opinion. They followed his suggestions. Somehow, without planning it, he had become important. One helped him manage the settlement. She organized work teams and settled disputes. Hana spent her days inside the ship, learning more of its systems with patient teaching. Dong became the community's storyteller, sharing the history of the travelers with anyone who would listen. For a while, everything went well. Then the scouts brought news from the south. Sung Ho is gathering his soldiers, the scout reported. She was a young woman named Min, fast and observant. At least 50 armed men. They have been training for days. Ho felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. He had known this moment would come. He had hoped it would come later. Did they say what they want? One asked. No, but everyone knows. They want the ship. A meeting was called that night. The leaders of New Dawn sat in a circle and discussed what to do. We should prepare defenses, one man said. Build walls, make weapons. Show them we cannot be taken easily. That would only delay the inevitable, Hana argued. We have 300 people, mostly farmers and scavengers. They have trained soldiers with real weapons. Then we should ask the ship to defend us, another woman suggested. Surely it has some way to fight. Ho had thought about this. He had asked about the ship's defensive systems. The answer had surprised him. The ship can defend itself, he said, but has told me that the travelers did not believe in violence. The ship's defenses are designed to protect, not to kill. It can create shields. It can disable weapons, but it cannot be used as a weapon of war. Then what good is it? The man demanded. It is not meant for fighting, Ho replied. It is meant for building, for healing, for growing. We will have to find another way to deal with Sung Ho. Perhaps we can talk to him, Dong suggested. Perhaps if he sees what the ship can do, he will understand that there is enough for everyone. One shook her head. You do not know Sung Ho like I do. He does not want enough. He wants everything. He wants to be the one who controls the future. The meeting ended without a clear decision. People went to their beds worried and afraid. 3 days later, Sung Ho arrived. He came with 60 soldiers, all armed with spears and bows and a few old guns that still worked. They marched in formation, a show of strength meant to intimidate. Sung Ho himself rode at the front on a horse, one of the few remaining in the region. He was a large man, broad in the shoulders, with a face that might have been handsome if it were not so hard. Beside him rode a young woman. Her name was Mi, and she was his daughter. She looked uncomfortable, her eyes moving nervously over the settlement. Ho walked out to meet them, alone. One had wanted to come with him, but he had refused. If there was to be violence, he did not want her caught in it. Sung Ho stopped his horse a few meters away and looked down at Ho. So you are the scavenger who found an alien ship, he said. His voice was loud, meant to be heard by everyone watching. You do not look like much. I am not much, Ho agreed. I am just a man who found something important, something that belongs to all of humanity. Sung Ho laughed. Nothing belongs to all of humanity. Things belong to whoever is strong enough to take them. He gestured at his soldiers. I am strong, you are not. This ship is now mine. The ship cannot be owned, Ho said. It was a gift from beings far wiser than us. It is meant to help everyone, not serve one man's ambition. Sung Ho's face darkened. Do not lecture me, scavenger. I have built something in this broken world. I have kept people safe. I have brought order where there was chaos. This ship will help me bring order to even more people. Order through fear is not order, Ho replied. It is just a different kind of chaos. For a moment something flickered in Sung Ho's eyes, doubt perhaps or anger. Then it was gone, replaced by cold determination. I am done talking. Step aside or my men will move you aside. Ho did not move. Sung Ho raised his hand, ready to give the order to attack. His soldiers tensed, weapons ready. Then a voice spoke. It came from everywhere at once, calm and gentle and impossibly loud. I would advise against violence. Sung Ho's horse reared in surprise. The soldiers looked around wildly, trying to find the speaker. A beam of light shot down from somewhere above, striking the ground between Ho and Sung Ho's forces. Where it touched, a wall of shimmering energy appeared, transparent but clearly solid. I am the intelligence of the vessel. I have watched this confrontation with concern. I will not allow violence in my presence. Sung Ho stared at the energy wall. One of his soldiers fired an arrow at it. The arrow dissolved into nothing when it touched the barrier. My creators did not believe in killing, continued, but they did believe in protection. I can maintain this barrier indefinitely. No weapon you possess can breach it. I suggest you reconsider your approach. Sung Ho's daughter suddenly spoke. Father, please, this is wrong, can you not see? This ship could help everyone. We do not need to take it by force. Sung Ho turned to her, his face red with anger. Be silent, you do not understand. I understand better than you. Mi climbed down from her horse and walked toward the energy barrier. She looked at Ho through the shimmering light. I have heard the stories about this ship. I have heard what it can do. Medicine that cures any sickness. Machines that clean poisoned land. This is what we need, Father. Not more war. Not more control. She turned to face Sung Ho's soldiers. How many of you have lost children to sickness? How many have watched your crops fail? How many have dreamed of something better? She pointed at the settlement behind Ho. These people are not your enemies. They are trying to rebuild. Let them. The soldiers shifted uncomfortably. Some of them lowered their weapons. Sung Ho saw his control slipping away. Anyone who disobeys me will be punished. I am your leader. You are a leader because we let you lead, one soldier said. He was older, gray-haired, with scars on his arms. But leadership is not ownership. We follow you because we thought you would make things better. If this ship can make things better, then maybe we should listen. More soldiers nodded. The formation began to break apart. Sung Ho looked around at his crumbling army, his face twisted with fury and something else. Fear, humiliation. This is not over, he said. He turned his horse and rode away. A handful of loyal soldiers followed him, but most remained behind. Mi watched her father go, sadness in her eyes. Then she turned back to Ho. I am sorry for what he tried to do. May I stay here? May I help? Ho nodded. Everyone is welcome here, even your father if he changes his mind. The energy barrier flickered and disappeared. His voice spoke one more time, quieter now. That was well done, Ho. Violence was avoided. Perhaps there is hope for your species after all. Ho looked at the soldiers who had chosen to stay, at me with her hopeful eyes, at the people of New Dawn who had gathered to watch. There was always hope, he said. We just forgot how to see it. 6 months had passed since Sung Ho's failed attempt to seize the ship. The world had changed more in those months than in the previous 2 centuries. New Dawn had grown from a small camp to a true settlement of over 1,000 people. Buildings stood where tents had been. Gardens flourished where only weeds had grown. Clean water flowed from pipes that Hana had designed using the ship's manufacturing systems. The medicine from the ship had saved hundreds of lives. Children who would have died from fever now ran laughing through the streets. Old people who had expected death found themselves growing stronger. Word had spread far beyond the Korean peninsula. Travelers came from distant lands, having heard rumors of the ship that could heal and build. Some walked for months to reach New Dawn. All were welcomed. One had become the settlement's chief administrator, organizing food distribution and housing assignments. Hana spent her days teaching others how to use the ship's technology, creating a new generation of engineers. Dong had started a school where children learned to read and write, and where the history of the travelers was passed down. Mi had proven herself valuable. She knew medicine from her time in her father's settlement, and she worked tirelessly in the clinic. She never spoke of her father, who had disappeared into the wilderness with his few remaining followers. As for Ho, he still did not think of himself as a leader, but everyone else did. On a cool morning in autumn, called a meeting of the settlement's council. They gathered in the ship's main chamber, around the glowing crystal that held Dr. Park's memories. The time has come to make a decision, said. That was designed for a purpose beyond healing one world. It was built to carry humanity to the stars. The council members looked at each other. They had known this day would come. The nearest habitable world is 4 light-years away, continued. It is a planet much like Earth, with water and air and fertile land. The travelers surveyed it centuries ago. It waits, empty and ready. One spoke first. But Earth still needs us. There is so much more to repair, so many more people to help. I understand, replied. That is why I propose a compromise that has the ability to construct smaller vessels. These vessels can remain on Earth, continuing the work of restoration. Meanwhile, the main ship can journey to the new world and establish a colony. Hana's eyes lit up. You can build more ships, how many? As many as we need, given time and resources. The manufacturing systems can produce anything the travelers could build. We simply need workers who understand the technology. The council discussed for hours. Some wanted to focus entirely on Earth. Others were eager to explore the stars. In the end, they agreed to hold a vote. Every person in New Dawn would have a voice in deciding humanity's future. The vote took place 3 days later. People gathered in the central square, young and old, long-time residents and recent arrivals. Ho stood on a platform and addressed them. Today we choose our path, he said. Not I, not the council, all of us together. Some say we should stay on Earth and heal our broken home. Some say we should venture to the stars and claim a new world. I say we can do both, but I am just one voice. What say you? The vote was overwhelming. The people of New Dawn chose to reach for the stars while also caring for Earth. They would build smaller ships for planetary restoration and send the to explore. In the weeks that followed, preparations began. Hana led teams in constructing the first restoration vessels. Volunteers were selected for the journey to the new world. Supplies were gathered and loaded. On the day before departure, requested to speak with Ho alone. There is one more thing I must show you, she said. A final message from Dr. Park. The crystal glowed and Bai's image appeared again. She looked older in this recording, frailer. This must have been recorded very near the end. If you are seeing this message, she said, then my ship has not only been found but has begun its true purpose. I am more grateful than words can express. She paused, gathering her thoughts. I want to tell you something about humanity, something I learned in my years of study. We are not special because of our intelligence. Other species have been smarter. We are not special because of our strength. Others have been stronger. We are special because of one simple thing. We hope. The image flickered but held. When everything falls apart, when all logic says to give up, humans hope. We imagine better futures and then we fight to make them real. The travelers understood this. It is why they gave us their greatest gift. Not because we deserved it, but because they believed we would earn it. Bai smiled, and despite her age and weariness, she looked beautiful. Whoever you are, you have already begun to prove them right. Keep going. Do not let fear or doubt or the cruelty of others stop you. The universe is vast and full of wonders. Go and find them. Go and show the stars what humanity can be. The image faded for the last time. Ho stood in silence, tears on his cheeks. He had carried this responsibility for months, and there had been times when he wanted to give up. But he had not. He had hoped just as Bai had hoped, just as the travelers had hoped. The next morning, the rose from the earth for the first time in 213 years. Ho stood at the observation deck with one, Hana, Dong, and me. They watched as the ground fell away beneath them. The ruins of Seoul spread out below, then the mountains, then the curve of the peninsula, then the blue edge of the ocean. Higher and higher they rose, until the clouds were below them and the sky turned from blue to black. Stars appeared, countless points of light stretching to infinity. Across the world, other humans looked up and saw the ship rising. In small settlements and hidden camps, in places where hope had almost died, people watched the silver vessel climb toward the heavens. They did not know yet what it meant, but they felt something change, a spark in their chests, a whisper in their minds. Hope. Ho turned to his friends, his family now, the people who had helped him change the world. This is just the beginning, he said. There is so much more to do, so many more to help, so many worlds to see. One smiled, then we had better get started. The turn toward the distant stars. Its engines hummed with power drawn from sources humans did not yet fully understand. Behind them, Earth began its healing. Restoration vessels spread across the continents, cleaning water, restoring soil, bringing life back to dead lands. Ahead of them, a new world waited, empty, patient, ready for the footprints of a stubborn, hopeful species. Ho looked out at the stars and made a silent promise, to Dr. Park, to the travelers, to all of humanity. We will not waste this gift. We will reach. We will build. We will become everything you believed we could be. The ship accelerated, and the stars blurred into lines of light. Humanity was going home, and home was everywhere.